Hello and welcome to Medical Myths Busted. My name is Dr. Moses Kazevu. This is a series where we look at medical myths and we aim to either debunk them or actually endorse them. Today we'll be looking at two important medical myths. One myth is that the cold weather could actually get you sick. I wonder if it can. The second myth is that babies actually do breathe from their heads, or do babies actually breathe from their head? So, looking at the first myth. Now, I'm sure you've heard many parents tell their children that go get warm, you might actually get sick if you're exposed to the cold. Some people have even told their children that they might actually get pneumonia from the cold. So, pneumonia is pretty much this chest infection where it may be caused by viruses, it may be caused by certain bacteria that may invade into the chest and cause some inflammatory reactions in the chest. But does the cold weather actually make you sick? So we'll give a common cold, for example. So common colds are actually caused by a rhinovirus, which is a special type of virus that could be transmitted from one individual to another individual through sneezing, talking, or pretty much any droplet that is coming from an infected person to a non-infected person. So the cold weather actually doesn't have much to do with the cold itself. Get it? The cold itself. But okay, let's get serious. But what we've actually seen is that research shows that the colder temperatures actually slow down the immune system or weaken the immune system, and the cold temperatures actually make the virus actually replicate much faster than in warmer temperatures. So which explains why the virus would be replicating much faster in colder temperatures, and it could easily be passed on from one person to another, because in winter we generally want to be closer to each other, we generally want to stay indoors, and no one generally wants to be outside in the cold. Why would you want to be in the cold? So, does the cold weather actually make you sick? Not really. It's actually the viruses and the bacteria that infect us that actually make us sick. But the cold weather actually does provide a conducive environment for the virus to replicate. It also produces a conducive environment for it to be passed on from one individual to the next because of the close contact that we have during winter. Most of the times we spend our times indoors and with different people that may carry different viruses. So different people carrying different things. The second myth that we'll look at today is, do babies actually breathe from their head? I'm pretty sure if you have dealt with a baby before, you have seen the head of a child or a baby, especially a newly born baby or just a few months after they are born. You would see that there's a pulsation that's on top of their head. So most people have actually had the notion that we shouldn't touch that area or you shouldn't cover that area because that's where the baby breathes from. Oh, that is a very sensitive area, some people have gone to say. So, background behind this, or science behind this, that part which is really soft on the anterior part or on the front part of the baby's head is known as the anterior fontanelle. So this anterior fontanelle is just simply the space that you find in between the different bones that make up the skull. They are not yet completely fused, just like in the adult. So there is a space there which is known as the anterior fontanelle. You have the similar space at the back, which is known as the posterior fontanelle. So this anterior fontanelle generally closes at around 18 months, while the posterior fontanelle closes roughly at around 3 months. So what exactly is this found underneath there? So there's a very tough membrane that you find underneath there. So why does this anterior fontanelle actually bulge? Well, the space in the anterior part or the front part is covered by a membrane, and just as the heart is actually beating, there are certain blood vessels that are pushing blood within the skull that actually cause it to beat. So it's not necessarily the child actually breathing through this area, but rather just the blood moving in the skull. So sometimes this anterior fontanelle could actually bulge, for example when the child is having a brain infection or an infection that's inside the skull, which is pretty much a meningitis. Sometimes it may bulge when the pressure or there's too much fluid that is accumulating surrounding the brain as well as surrounding the spinal cord. So verdict from today's show of whether we should actually endorse these two myths or actually debunk them. So beginning with the first myth. So does cold really cause you to get sick? A drum roll please. The answer is No, the cold doesn't necessarily get you sick. It's pretty much the viruses and the bacteria. And the second myth, do kids actually breathe from the top of their head? Can we get a drum roll, please? The answer is no. Kids do not actually, or babies do not actually breathe from the top of their head. So that is all I had for you today. So thank you for taking your time to listen to this video on medical myths debunked. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe to the page. Hit the bell notification to receive updates every time I upload a video. We will upload such videos on a daily basis. And let me know in the comments below on what myths you want to be debunked in the upcoming episodes. Until next time, bye bye.